Remember recess? Well, it's changed. Nearly half of all school districts in the region have either completely eliminated or reduced allocated time for recess in the last decade. Many educators view recess as the most problematic part of the school day due to staffing, space, and student discipline issues. And although childhood obesity has more than doubled in the last 30 years, recess and physical activity is sorely undervalued as districts focus almost exclusively on maximizing academic success. Playworks, Massachusetts is working to flip the system on its head. Entering its 11th year in Massachusetts, Playworks, which is part of a national nonprofit organization, is leading the recess revolution in New England by helping schools create a place for every kid on the playground. To tell us more about this organization and its mission, we've invited its executive director, Jonathan Gay. Welcome to Urban Update, Jonathan. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And why don't we start by discussing why recess has become such a problem for schools?
Yeah, so in my role at Playworks, I get the chance to talk to a lot of educators and principals and teachers, and oftentimes they're telling me that recess is the most problematic time of the school day. It's got a lot of bullying, fightings. If a kid gets in a disagreement, it can escalate really quickly. And oftentimes principals will say that kids are coming back to the principal's office and wasting a lot of academic time during the school day. So it's become what used to be a really fun time to oftentimes now one of the more problematic times of the school day.
So even though I guess there's a need for physical activity, I mean, you look at the statistics about obesity and all the benefits that go with team play, and so forth, schools are finding it just easier just to cut it out?
Yeah, well, back in the mid-2000s, No Child Left Behind came across, and a lot of cuts happened in recess, as well as music and arts, a lot of important things for the kids today. That left less time for kids to be active and less time for them to play. So kids were not having the same opportunities and therefore weren't coming to school with the same opportunities and knowledge of how to play as well.
Wow. Now, what kind of impact has Playworks Mass helped?
Yeah, so I've been privileged to work with Playworks for 10 years in this region, and I've truly seen some change in schools and with kids that we work with on a daily basis. We are the leading nonprofit transforming kids' social emotional health, and we're really focusing on recess. We want kids to come out to recess and have fun. We want them to play games for 20 straight minutes so that they're getting their daily dose of physical activity. We want them to learn how to resolve their conflicts. We want them to learn how to communicate with one another, and then we want them to go back to class focused and ready to learn.
And how do you help schools do this? I mean, if they're worried about all these discipline problems, you know, how do you convince schools to dive into this?
Yeah, so our theory of change is if you make recess a really fun and productive time of the school day, the entire school day will shift and the entire school climate will improve. So that kid who might have had a negative experience at recess, whether they were sitting on the sideline or getting in a fight, and then therefore disrupting the rest of the entire school day, we want to make sure that kid gets in the game, has a fun time, has a productive time. So we do things like rock, paper, scissors to help kids resolve their conflicts. We teach kids new ways to play games like soccer so that everybody's involved at the same time. Bring back those classic games like tag and kickball and foursquare so that all 150 kids who are out in the recess yard are playing and having a good time at it.
Now, what schools are participating in Massachusetts? I know this is a national program, but who are you working with here in Mass?
Yeah, so Playworks Massachusetts is one of the largest Playworks regions across the country. We work with about 75 schools across the state of Massachusetts, about 35,000 kids every single day.
Wow.
A big bulk of the kids are here in Boston. We work with 28 Boston schools every day. We also work with schools in Lawrence and Brockton and New Bedford and Somerville. And all these schools are really finding that recess can really make their school day a better place for kids and also make sure the kids are getting important social emotional skills at the same time.
How would you define a great recess?
When you go to recess, if you're a parent or a teacher, whatever you are, you want to see kids running, playing, and having fun. So you want to see them, in my eyes, giving high fives. You want them to getting in every game. Then you want to see them resolving conflicts on their own with things like rock, paper, scissors, which I described earlier, or talking it out with their peers. You want them to see them controlling their emotions. So if they do get angry, they know what to do rather than running off in a storm or using negative energy. And then Lastly, you just want to see kids enjoying themselves and adults participating alongside with them. I think adults is a big part of making recess safe and fun.
Now, how do you work with schools to actually make this a reality?
Yeah. So Playworks can work with any school. It's the first thing. We work through both direct service programs where we put a person out of school and that person runs everything from recess to classes to youth leadership programming. And then we also train and do consultative service with schools. So we can build the capacity of school staff at school so that they can run Playworks recess on their own.
Wow. Okay, now, it seems like in general, the widespread use of smartphones, social media, video games, the technology really is a factor in driving kids away from physical activity, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, my own kid myself, Eliza, she oftentimes will want to go to TV versus playing outside, and that's just the reality of what kids experience today. Whereas when I was a kid, they had small TVs and less programming, less television shows. Kids are spending up to 8 hours in front of television now, and also there's less opportunities for them to play outside, whether it's because they live in a neighborhood that might be unsafe for them to go out after dark, or there's less opportunities for them to get involved in sports teams. We're seeing that kids just are not coming to school with the same skills around play that they used to.
What does playing outside, playing with other kids outside, do for the development of kids?
Yeah, so Playworks has proven that a really safe recess can reduce bullying in elementary schools, recover valuable learning time, about 20 hours per class at a school, as well as get kids physically active. And so if you go to school and you can see kids playing at recess, you should be seeing them grow their social skills, how they're communicating with one another, how they're talking with one another, how they're engaging with one another. You should see them deal with their emotions in new positive ways. And then you should also see them learn those valuable skills around physical activity that are going to make them active and healthy and help them live healthy lifestyles.
And you talk about team play as well being another learning experience that's good for kids, playing outside together.
Exactly. So I grew up playing sports and I had that opportunity, and I learned things about being a leader and how to resolve conflicts, and so we're bringing those same learnings, those 21st century skills, those social emotional skills back to the playground.
And very quickly, now do you say you have people, you run the recess, you teach the teachers how to do this, how to be out there and help, or do you run it by yourself?
Both. Like I say, we can serve any school. A lot of the schools we do serve are high need, and we put people at them. And then some schools, we train schools how to do it themselves.
And finally, very quickly, how can schools get Playworks information about Playworks and get it in their school if they want it?
Yeah, if you want Playworks at your school, you can go to www.playworks.org and find out how to bring Playworks to your school.
Okay, Jonathan Gay from Playworks, Massachusetts, and Playworks, the national program here. It sounds like something that's definitely needed, and thanks for coming and telling us about it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, well, that's it for this edition of Urban Update. I'm Byron Barnett. For all of us here at Urban Update, have a great Sunday, everyone.